what's up YouTube? Just got here at the acupuncturist, so I'm currently waiting right now to get in. Got here a little bit earlier, so I have some time to kill. So I'm just going to spend a little bit of time just gathering myself, gathering my thoughts, preparing myself, and then I'm going to go in. So hopefully I'm able to record, and wish me luck. See you guys soon. What is up, YouTube family? So currently in the waiting room right now. I'm not trying to be too loud because people are working. I just finished signing some paperwork, and now we're just processing everything and waiting to go in and see them. So
yes,
third update. back to back. So just finished paperwork like I mentioned before, and still waiting to be seen. We got here really early, so we might have to wait a little bit. But I was speaking to the physician that's going to see me, and he said that he's pretty cool with me recording. So thumbs up. That's a I thought somebody was coming. So that's a positive. So we're going to go in shortly and shoot. See you soon.
the pulse is a root of diagnosis in Chinese medicine. We have some 27 different pulse pictures.
Yeah.
We have 3 positions which correspond to the upper, middle, and lower, what we call the jows.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people hear them called as the 3 triple burners, triple heaters. Mm-hmm. But then you have your upper jow, your middle jow, and then the lower jow, as we say. The different organs that are associated there. This side is the heart, liver, kidney, yin. And we have a superficial, medium layer or middle layer, and then the deep layer. Mm-hmm. And we look at the pulse shapes, speed, different qualities in each of the positions. So this weather knocks you out? Or
Occasionally.
you prefer the winter?
Yeah.
When's the last time you ate?
This morning, roughly around 9.
Where'd you grow up?
Brooklyn.
What part?
East New York.
Yeah, the kidneys are tired.
Yeah.
Anything hurts you. Can you see your tongue? Ah, there you go. talk about the most important thing in life, they say it's their car, their kids, their dog, their job. The most important thing in life is breathing. And if you don't believe me, try not to breathe for a minute or two.
I think I die.
You know what I mean? All right, the sensations we're looking at, you shouldn't feel sharp. It shouldn't feel like a needle, really. The two sensations we don't want are sharp or burning. Tingling, electricity, distended, yeah, all those are good.
Okay.
You know, so the only thing we don't want, my nose always itches when I meet with people. Your skin get dry?
Not really.
Not so bad, right?
Nah.
Right, that's right. You're a type, you stick needles in you.
Yeah, I do this all the time. 15 years.
You feel that there, huh?
Not really. A little bit.
Not much, huh?
Mm-mm.
I don't want you to feel that.
Oh yeah, I feel it.
No, you don't. I just took it out.
Yeah, now I feel it.
You got the lingering sensation. That's okay. Jackie didn't leave me any 3 1.5s. That woman. You have to go on. That's it. Different.
Yeah.
Go down the leg a little bit. Or just there.
Just there.
Strange, huh?
Yeah. Now we're going down. Yeah.
Breathe. Go. Feel that?
Yeah.
Feel like I put a weight on the ankle.
Does
Does that make sense?
Slightly, yeah.
Yeah, that's a little better. And that pulled your kidney up a little bit. That's your anger and frustration.
Really?
It's like a boom, right?
Yeah, I felt it. Like, it was like a bolt.
Yeah. That's your liver. That's the different organs are associated with different emotions. So the emotion that's associated with the liver is anger and frustration. You know. So we say there again, Chinese medicine is built on yin and yang, so we have exterior causes of disease and interior causes of disease. The exterior causes of disease are the climactic factors. The wind, the cold, dampness, dryness, heat, what we call summer heat. And when we become overexposed to them, or our body is weak, we're easily invaded by them. That's when we get an exterior invasion. Like Western medicine will say you have a cold or the flu or something, you know, don't do. So then if we have an exterior cause, we have to have an interior cause of disease. So the interior causes of disease are the improper feeling of the 7 emotions. So the example I generally give people is you're driving down the road, someone cuts you off, you think, oh, you son of a bitch. Right?
Yeah.
That's how you're supposed to feel in the moment.
Right.
But when you're 30 miles down the road, still thinking about that bastard to cut me off, that's when the emotion causes disharmony in your body. When you're angry like that, things tighten up, right?
Yeah.
So if you have this tightness going on, that creates stagnation in the body.
And it affects the kidney.
It affects everything.
Oh.
I mean, yeah. And like, think about what happens when you get sad and you cry.
Yeah.
You know, everything falls apart, right? You know, and if you're always sad, that collapsing sort of
Disharmony in the body.
Yeah. So the improper feeling of the 7 emotions. So the emotions are predominantly associated with different organs, the different emotions. The heart, which houses the mind, in Chinese medicine, not the brain, but it houses the mind because the mind is aware, is affected by all the emotions, right? But the emotion of the heart is joy. So the pathological joy would be, my cat was run over by a car today.
Yeah.
You know that person who laughs inappropriately.
Right.
So that boom, immediately you know there's something off with the heart.
Right.
So.
And grief and sadness associated with the lungs.
Right. Very good. Rumination, overthinking, is the spleen.
Spleen.
And you think about it, we have all these images in our language that reflect that too. Because when you're going to think about something, you say, "I'm going to chew that over."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the spleen has to do with
digestion.
Digestion, right.
Yeah. So, fear has to do with the kidney. Fear, fright, and fear. Which is funny. You say, and the kidney controls the 2 lower yin orifices, the anus and the urethra. And when you say they scared the shit out of me, you scared the piss out of me.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's just these ideas, even though they're not within Western medicine, they're throughout our language. You know, there's a recognition, and you know, language is really old. You know, so except for .com, right? Yeah. So anger again, like I said, the liver. Right. So, now while you're laying here, you're not allowed to think. You're allowed to think of 3 things, because I don't want these to be in your mind. I want you to, let me come around this way. So, the 3 things you can think about are your breathing, relaxing completely, or the sensation the needles are giving. And if you find your mind going off on the 10, you come back to one of those 3 things. Not thinking is very difficult because we're taught that we have to use our brains all the time. You know, we got a little buzz going, right? Weird. It's weird, right? Yeah, good. All right, you're warm enough?
Yeah, I'm good.
It's not too cold in here?
Nah, I'm alright.
Not too hot also. I'm not going to give you a heat lamp. Normally we put a heat lamp on your belly, but not today. Alright, so, sir, you get to take a nap. If you want to let yourself go to sleep, go to sleep. If you need to shift a little bit, move a little bit, you can do that.
Alright.
You know, so if your nose is itchy, take this arm. Don't do any of that because this needle's in between 2 bones. But you know, just bring your hand up and scratch what you need to scratch. That's fine. You know, and just put it back. If you need me, you scream. Alright, and you get to take a nap, ma'am. You're gonna sit here and watch him. Just relax. Good. All right, you can take your time to. Oh, hold on 1 second. I don't want to leave you with a big little drop of blood. There's some heat. a good nap. We went deep, huh?
A little bit.
So they've done functional magnetic resonance imaging of people's brains when they get acupuncture, and the brain lights up as if you're sleeping, whether or not you're sleeping.
Wow.
So people tend to want to go to sleep.
I feel like I would drool out. I feel like
that's a good sleep then. You just slept and you drooled.
Did I get up?
Yeah, you're all done. You take your time. I'll meet you out front, okay?
Alright, thank you.
My pleasure.
So, as you can see, that was my first session with acupuncture. It went way better than I expected, primarily because at the last minute there was some scheduling conflict issues. I was on my way. I mentioned that I was supposed to be seeing a female acupuncturist, but at the last minute something came up and she couldn't make it in. And the guy that I spoke to in the previous video, when I said he's the one that scheduled the appointment, I didn't really know what his role was there. I don't know if he was the secretary or what it was, but he had called me the morning of while I was on my way there and said that she wasn't able to make it. She had like a last minute emergency, so I was kind of discouraged. I was like, okay, well, should I just go back home? And then he said, hey, I'm actually an acupuncturist myself. She's my wife, which I didn't know. So I was just like, wow. So he was like, you know, she's my wife. We study together and we work together. So if you still want to come up and have me do your first session and have her do the follow-up, or if you just want to have me do it and stick with me, you know, it's completely up to you, or you could reschedule. So I was like, you know, so I thought about it for a little bit. I said, you know, maybe this happened for a reason. So I said, you know what, I'm still going to go. So I still went up there, and the session went great. You know, he definitely knows a lot. He definitely exceeded my expectations, and you know, I was satisfied. So moving forward, I don't know if I'm not 100% sure if he's gonna be doing my sessions or if she's gonna be doing it. I think they said that they sometimes interchange with patients, so you may see both of them or you may just see him. I'm not exactly sure, so in the following sessions I guess we'll figure out what's gonna happen. In my previous video, I listed some expectations that I thought I was gonna see, and some of them were present there. So it lets me know that my studying is paying off and it's actually in alignment. So I know that some of the things that I'm reading and researching are real in the real acupuncture world. So one of the things that I mentioned was that he's going to look at my tongue, and in the video you see that he asked me to stick my tongue out. I also said that she was going to focus on my pulse, which he did. He spent roughly, I want to say, a lot of time on my pulse, because the pulse really lets him know what's going on with my internal organs. And from feeling my pulse, he was able to analyze and assess that my kidneys are tired, which with my condition, it definitely makes sense. So that gave him a idea of where, you know, one of my problems lie and where he has to focus. So when he began to, you know, insert the needles in me, he had an idea of, okay, I need to hit one of the acupuncture points that's gonna strengthen his kidney chi, or his energy. And as you can see, after he did it, he said, okay, that brought your kidney up a little bit. So I was happy about that. I was thankful for that. Another thing that we saw, this was not on camera, but because it went on relatively long and I didn't want to add it to this video because it would have made it even longer than it is now. He was the whole questionnaire, background check, you know, asking me a whole bunch of questions about, you know, how long I've been dealing with diabetes, what's my regimen like, family history, things of that nature. I want to say that went on for about 25-30 minutes. So that was just like, okay, it was very informative, but I was like, I don't want to add this part in because it's going to make it very, very long. Another thing that, and And I also want to talk about some of the things that he spoke about in the video, in case like you guys didn't understand. So he made mention of, when he was touching me, he made mention of the triple burner, or in Eastern medicine or TCM is considered Sanjiao, if I'm pronouncing that right. So triple burner is basically what it sounds like. It's broken up into three parts. You have your upper burner, your middle burner, and your lower burner. Your upper burner consists of your heart, your chest, your lungs. Your middle burner consists of your spleen, your stomach, your liver, and your small intestines. And your lower burner consists of your kidneys, your bladder, and the large intestine. Yes, if I'm not mistaken. So in turn, they all work together to basically maintain the chi and energy flow through your body, so your body could be at a strong state. Another thing that he mentioned was 7 emotions. So there are 7 emotions externally. There are external things in this world that affect us internally. It's correlation. So externally we have 7 emotions that are directly correlated to specific organs. So in the video he mentioned anger. He said anger is correlated with the liver. Now, of course, we're human, so we succumb to emotions. It's natural. But the problem comes into play when we have excessive emotions. Anything that's excessive eventually leads to complication and problems. So he gave a great example. He said, okay, when you're driving and somebody, cuts you off, in that moment you might get upset, you might get frustrated, it's normal. But if you're 25-30 minutes down the road, you're still driving and you're still heated and you're frustrated and you're angry about it, then that's what's going to cause the problem, because you being overly angry is directly associated with the liver. So you're going to cause your liver to overwork, and anything that's being overworked is going to obviously lead to complications down the line, or a disrupt in the energy system, which leads to disease. In the video I mentioned that grief and sadness was associated with the lungs. So the 7 emotions are, like I mentioned, grief and sadness, they're associated with the lungs. Anger, like he mentioned, is associated with the liver. Joy is associated with the heart. He also mentioned that as well. And fright and fear is associated with the kidneys. So when you have these emotions, it's fine, but when any one of those 7 emotions is you're experiencing, it's like on overload, then you're causing that direct inner organ that's associated with that emotion to overwork, which is going to lead to complications. There are also other external forces that can lead to internal disharmony, which then leads to disease, such as the weather. Mentioned before, you could think of yin has cold weather and yang has hot weather. So we naturally have that within us, that energy. So when it gets hot outside, if you don't find a way, you got to find a way to cool yourself down, or you're overly heat. Or if it's cold weather, you find yourself getting excessively cold, which then also leads to disease in the body. So everything is just about being balanced and not trying to overdo anything, because that's what leads to complications and issues. So when you started sticking me with or putting the needles into the acupuncture points, it, like, you could literally feel it. Like, it was just crazy. Like, I've never felt anything like that. And I literally felt like, it's so hard to explain. Like, you could literally feel like electricity, like, just running through your body. And for the first time in my life, I felt like I could feel my organs. Like, I'd feel like things pumping in me, and it was just insane. Like, really, like, insane. Some of the reasons why I knew it worked, it was two main things that I noticed. After that, he put from the video, he put them in, and he left for about, I want to say, roughly 40 minutes, and told me to sleep. And I'm just like, I'm not gonna sleep. I'm like, it's first time coming here. I was like, you know what I'm saying? I don't just like sleep anywhere I go, and oftentimes I two things, I have a hard time sleeping and I have a hard time staying asleep. So that's another reason why I didn't think it was gonna work. But, I was out. He put those needles in me, he shut the light off, and like within 5 minutes, I wanna say, like I was like just gone. And I woke up woke up 40 minutes. I was like, he left the room, but I had my videographer with me, and she was just watching me like a hawk. Like he was just like, "You gonna like stay in here and just watch and sleep?" And she's like, "Yep." So shout out to her for that. I appreciate her. It's good to have people in your corner, people supporting you. Even if it's just one person, be thankful for that. So I'm definitely thankful for her sacrificing her time to come up there with me and watching over me, making sure I was good. So so after that, I was like just knocked out, and then he came in. He came in. I was drooling a little bit. I was just like, oh man, I look bad. I look bad right now. But I was like, it's all right. So then he came back in, picked me up, and told me like to take my time. And when I got up, I was just like, now let me stop. But yeah, all seriousness, like it was just crazy. Like I felt different. So, and I was like extremely tired, and I read that sometimes that may be the effect of your first acupuncture treatment, which I understand because you know they're basically trying to get your body back into its normal state. So if your body has been out of its normal state, in my terms, for about 15, 16 years, when you're trying to redirect energy and get things back on point, it's going to have some type of effect on you, and it may be like an exhausting effect. So I was tired. I got up. It was like a little bit difficult for me to walk, just to like, I don't know, it was like overwhelming, like, but it wasn't a bad overwhelming. It was just like, okay, like I really felt like, okay, this worked, like, because I never felt like that before. And the second thing was in terms of my blood sugar. Like, I don't want to speak too soon, but I definitely saw a difference in it. So usually my sugars are like just fluctuating all the time, and that's what makes being diabetic so hard. The key is to have it balanced, or if it is fluctuating, not to fluctuate so much, or if it is going to fluctuate in a balanced manner. So with me, it's sort of like up and down. So I left the office around, I want to say 4 o'clock, and my sugar dipped a little bit, and then I ate, and then when I ate, like it plateaued. Like it just stayed at the same level from I want to say from about maybe like 6, because I ate like at 5. So from 6 to basically the morning, it it was just same points. Like it went up 1 point and then it went down, and because of the Dexcom, like I showed you in the previous videos, I was able to check it easily. I was able just to look at the machine and see where it was, and it went up 1 point, went down 2 points, and went up 1 point, 2 points, and I've never seen that for that duration, ever. Like, it was just like, so I was just like, wow. And it only went up the next day when I ate something. So that let me know basically that when it comes to this thing, is definitely a strong possibility that it could work. But the hardest thing for me is going to be diet. I see. We weren't able to discuss diet in my first visit because he was just trying to get a feel for me, basically seeing the disharmonies that was in my body. So we didn't have time to talk about it. So he just gave me a general breakdown of the things I should avoid and things I shouldn't eat. So I'm hoping in the weeks to come, when he gets more familiar with me and my condition and my disharmonies, that we could talk about certain things, that we could basically create a diet plan for me. you know, and I feel like acupuncture and a diet plan, that'll definitely, if it's merged together the right way, I would definitely see the intended results that I want to see. And that was about, and that's pretty much it. So, you know, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Oh yeah, and last thing, have in mind a way that I do want to track my progress, but I'm gonna save it for the next video, because I don't want this to run too long. So yeah, so just stay tuned for that one, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, the session. Hope you guys learned something, and with that being said, I'll see you guys at a later date. Stay tuned.